Good evening. Welcome to this month's Town Administrator's Report. I'm David Watts Jr. and with me is our Town Administrator Steve Maio. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, David?
Doing well, doing well. Summer is finally arriving.
Beautiful, beautiful stretch of weather. Great day for graduation that we just had. Hopefully we'll take that through all of the 4th of July celebrations and getting back to some sense of...
Normalcy?
Some sense of normalcy. I don't like to use that word. Trying to come up with a better word for that, but we'll figure it out.
So, and our guest this month is Julie Smith-Galvin, who's not here in her usual capacity, but we're going to be talking about a rather new ad hoc residence committee called Safe Streets Wakefield. What's that all about?
So Safe Streets Wakefield is exactly what it sounds like it would be. It's for streets to be safe, not just for cars, but for walkers and bikers and rollers. The concept was brought to me by a town resident who said, you know, we really need to make Wakefield more friendly to people who don't drive all the time. It was in the middle of COVID, and I said, well, let's see what we can get started. And it's been around for about 2 years since then.
And what are the sorts of things that the group has been looking at?
So we look at a number of things. First is really infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So across town, where are there needs for things to be safer for bikes? So if that's bike lanes, we're going to eventually advocate for bike lanes. And we've looked very closely, for example, at the Envision project from the lens of people who might be walking or biking. And we've given significant feedback to that process. So we look at what's happening around town and try to give our perspective on that. We have a subcommittee that's working on schools. So we are a partner organization to the Safe Routes to Schools program, which is I think it's a federal program run at the state level here. And so Judy Crocker, who is our state representative, we've worked with her and the Youth Council actually on bringing her out to do audits around the elementary schools. How can we have safe pickups and safe drop-offs, encourage things like walking buses, and of course the Walk to School Day, which is already a favorite event here in Wakefield. And then we have, we're trying to really raise awareness and do some events that are fun around town. And that's why on July 17th, we're having our first ever Safe Streets Sunday, where we are going to open the roads to more bikers and walkers around the lake. And I'm happy to talk more about that.
Yes. How is that going to happen?
It's going to happen with the cooperation of the town and Steve and the DPW. We have worked closely with them to identify a date that can work. It's going to be a Sunday, the 17th, as I said, from 12 to 4 p.m. The town's going to help us close down the southbound lane of Main Streets and a portion of Church Street, and then really kind of put some barriers around North Ave so that people can encircle the lake and feel pretty safe while doing so. And that will, not only is that a fun day for Wakefield residents and visitors, but we hope that will give people a sense of what widened pedestrian ways might look like, which we have a goal to have done. Correct. On North Ave. I kind of talking both out of my town council and the Safe Streets, but I know across town we have plans for wider walkways, bi-directional walkways for biking and walking, and so this will help people really get a sense. And we're not saying we're closing the roads, because we really feel like we are opening the roads, you know, to the 40% of people in town who don't have cars.
I think a good way to look at it is we're changing the focus of the roads from carbon engines to walkers and joggers and bikers and people with baby carriages and things like that. Well, so I think that's kind of a different way of looking at it.
The lake has long been a very popular spot for people to walk around.
Yes.
Or to run or to bike.
Yes, and I think during COVID we realized that all the more, right?
Yeah,
it was the one place where everybody could go out and do that. So,
And I think that's a great point, is that we've kind of gone around for years, right? We have to fix the roads. Steve, you got to make the roads better. And that was what the comment was for years, right? It was roads and roads for cars, right? Roads just for cars.
Right.
So I think, we talk about how horrid, and it was horrid, the pandemic, but it did, it was a catalyst. Because
Right.
I think this was there. We just weren't maybe paying attention, to look at things differently. So walkability. What did we do? What could we do during the pandemic? What's the one thing we could walk, right? We could sit in our backyard and we could walk. And I think that really helped, bring home, areas where, hey, you know what? Why am I in the street instead of on a sidewalk? What does someone do with a baby carriage going through? What does someone do with a bike? What does someone do that needs some help, needs some assistance in a wheelchair? So, it really made us look at everything. And you'll note that when we are doing some of the roads projects, you'll note that where there aren't sidewalks, they're being cut in. Where there wasn't curbing for a delineation, it's being put in. And I will tell you, not everybody's happy with that. People that have had their front yard extend all the way to the street.
Right.
And I say their front yard, only it really isn't their front yard. A lot of it is the town's. I'll probably get letters now. Well, I want to be paid for mowing that lawn. That was my front yard for 40 years, or that I thought was mine. But
we continue to mow the grassy.
right.
It's just
making a
It's
point.
an accepted compact of the people of the town, and
Right. So I think what Safe Streets as a group has done with us, and they have a seat at the table, like Friends of the Lake have a seat at the table at things around the lake, to talk about how is best to put these projects forward. And we look at some of the new ones, the Envision project, which former chair Smith-Galvin, I think she's shaken off the chair very quickly. Just ran away from it. I was happy. Has really sensitized us to, and this group, that whole Envision project downtown, and not just looking at just put bike lanes somewhere. No, let's put bike lanes where they work, and they work well for people. And sometimes that's a shared use.
Right.
Sometimes it's delineated. Right. Sometimes it's mixed with cars. Sometimes
it's the back road. Sometimes it's neighborhoods,
it's
not
neighborhoods,
just going straight down Main Street.
Yes.
So that whole connectivity piece in I guess non-motorized transportation is really kind of what's at the heart of this. And I think we saw that, it's not too far to walk from Four Corners to the downtown if you're healthy. It's certainly not too far to bike.
And it's a good way to stay healthy.
It's a good way to stay healthy.
To do that too.
And Julie has a great flyer here. I'm surprised there aren't any bike racks on it, because she's always on me about making.
Well,
she should add some later on.
And that's where I was going to go with this is, we're looking for ways to reduce our carbon footprint.
Yes.
And, by encouraging people to maybe do some of their errands where they don't need a car space by using a bicycle is a great way. So that leads me to a follow-up question, and we'll come back to the July 17th event. But does this include also figuring out how people can safely and securely park their bicycles downtown so they can do an errand or two or three?
Yes, absolutely. We've been talking a lot about that. Mass Motion's done a lot of work in this area. They have maps of where there are existing bike racks, but certainly we need to increase the visibility and availability of those.
Right.
We were talking for this event. If you think about how many bicycles can go in one parking space.
Right.
So if people come downtown, you can probably put 5 to 7 bikes in one parking space. And I think that there is this perception that people on bikes and walkers don't spend money, but all of the studies show that they
do.
Absolutely, they're more likely to stay in town if they can come down, know they're going to have a place to park their bike.
Right.
We're trying to work with the farmers market and other events downtown. The best parking in town is going to be bike parking.
Right.
When I'm on my bike, Jason Lewis, I beat him to the I beat him to the event on Sunday, and I said, I'll park first because I could just kind of park my bike along the side. So absolutely, there's huge potential for that. And with electric bikes are becoming more and more popular. They're still fairly new, but they just give you a little boost that really is going to help people bike into their 60s, 70s, 80s. And so
She was saying that for us.
and I just
Maybe you.
No, in our age group.
you know, so there's going to be a lot of options out there that
Yeah.
we're going to have to be able to accommodate. And I think as a town, we should think about it. We are 7 miles square, more or less,
More or less, yeah.
in Wakefield. I mean, generally, I would say, you know, a large portion of our residents could bike or walk into pretty much anywhere in Wakefield.
And for a long time, especially when we were younger, it was a bikeable town. You know, you didn't have to worry about getting mowed down by a driver or a bus.
That's because there were less cars, though.
Exactly,
You know.
exactly.
It is scary.
Yeah, there's
there
one
were
car
more
per family.
buses.
And there were more buses, and there were like independent bus routes that went just for little neighborhoods and things. It was very strange.
Yes, well, if you remember
Yeah,
Hudson
yeah,
Bus on the corner of
Right.
Montrose Ave and Salem Street, where the convenience store gas station is now, that was a local bus company that serviced Wakefield, Stoneham, Reading. I think maybe a little bit of Saugus back in the 50s.
Just covered
and
those
60s.
neighborhoods on that
Yeah.
side of town. Really,
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. It would be great to see this combined with more public transportation, and maybe we could reduce cars. But it is scary, and we understand why people don't want to really be out there or send
Right.
maybe children out on bikes. So this is really a community effort to make sure that the infrastructure is there, to make sure that the awareness is there, and to make sure that bikers and walkers kind of know what the rules of the roads are for them as well, so that
Right.
how they can keep themselves safe.
Because when you do look at some of the larger cities that can support the blue bikes and the whatever blue bikes and blue bikes, they're taking up parking and or sidewalk space. But there's more people that are coming in. You have, as Julie said, 4 or 5 bikes in a stand there,
Right.
instead of a car that might have 1 or 2 people.
Right.
So by sheer numbers, you're helping your economy. So there's another way of looking at that, not just saying that they're
Think
not,
about the number of people who could bike to Sabatino's or any
Exactly.
other restaurant and
Safely bike home.
and safely bike home.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just a fantastic possibility that Wakefield could exploit very nicely.
And I will say that the Safe Streets Wakefield, or I think Safe Streets Working Group, as I refer to them to. Maybe have I been wrong?
No, it's Safe Streets Working
Okay,
Group.
all right. They have, in talking with us from an engineering standpoint on projects that are coming in, have really influenced on how they're ending up, which is great because it is giving that perspective, that maybe other people in the room didn't have. So it really is great, and it's. I look forward to that event going around because from a logistical standpoint, you'll be able to be clockwise around the lake. You'll feel safer going on North Ave because there will be some bump outs there and some
Right.
coning to help you. There will be a larger path within a year on North Ave, but that's not going to be them. But this will kind of show you kind of give you the experience.
Sure.
Corner Parkway, which won't be too much traffic, coming around onto Main Street, and then having that entire lane southbound open.
So where the parking is now
Right.
is already quite wide, plus the whole lane.
Whole length of that road.
Right.
Which will really be, I think people are really going to enjoy it, having that freedom and having that. Those are things that we're talking about as we change things.
Well, and it also builds on the other fitness-related activities that are available at the lake, with the Boys and Girls Club
Yeah.
again running the kayak rentals
Yep.
Right.
and canoe rentals.
And we're going to have a few small events, a bike rodeo for young people to figure out kind of.
Right.
what are
Explain
the
that, because I don't
rules.
think everybody knows what a bike rodeo
they
is.
set up a little obstacle course, and you can. I think adults can do it too, but you learn how to maneuver around it, how to use the hand signals for when you're turning. And our police department's going to be there. They just got a grant to do some bike, helmet fitting and bike education, and so they're going to be there as well. So there'll be a few little activities happening. We didn't want to make the focus on the common. We wanted to make the focus the whole lake, but there'll be some fun things to do, as you say. Kayak, do a little bike rodeo, and there might be some other things.
And
as well.
hopefully go downtown afterwards and get an
Yes.
ice cream or get dinner or pick up a pizza at Charlie's on the Main. Or
A little hard to carry home on a
no,
bike.
you can
but-
strap it on the back, right?
We're gonna have some extra bike parking there. You
Yeah.
can stay and eat outside
Yeah,
if it's
exactly.
beautiful.
But you know, it's interesting you say that the police are going to teach proper bike riding and the signals and everything, because that's what they used to do when we were kids.
Yeah.
They had those courses available, and
Yeah.
then they disappeared for decades, and it's nice to see them come back,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I think it's going to be great because people have to know the hand signals and
Yes.
Right, because
all of that.
bicyclists, they need to follow the rules of the road like everybody else.
Right.
And I think that, most do and most know. But again, it's younger kids like they're learning to drive a car. No one really
Right.
teaches a kid the rules of the road when they're riding the bike, teach them the balance, and all of a sudden, off they go. At least that's how I was with my 3 and maybe a little bit with my grandkids. But I think that, we need someone to teach them that stuff now.
Oh, absolutely.
I think another issue with Steve touched upon it as we're redoing our roads and we put all the bond funds into the roads and we're going to do the sidewalks at the same time. I am also, and the Safe Streets Working Group is really thinking about traffic calming as well, because we're going to have really good roads in the next couple of years, and that's going to make cars go faster. And so we're really trying to think about not just the infrastructure for bikes
Right.
and walking, but also how do we calm traffic?
Without
I would love
resorting
to say reduce
to-
traffic,
yeah.
but how do we at least calm it and make places where it's really dangerous, have them slow down and not.
Yeah, because that's becoming a growing problem in Greenwood.
Yes, well, we had a fatality near both of our homes this
Right.
January.
Yep.
It's very dangerous.
Yep.
Yep.
And we had a guy racing up and down Greenwood Avenue the other night in an extremely noisy car. But
Some things will always be hard to calm. That'll be one of them.
true, true. But whatever can,
Right.
talking about Greenwood, because the two of us are Greenwood residents. The number of kids who are riding their bikes to the Greenwood School has increased the last couple of years dramatically. And in fact, I was out walking the dog the other morning, and there was a whole group of kids who were traveling as a group to school.
That's awesome.
And one of their number fell behind, so they stopped, waited for him to catch up, and then continued on. But it seems to be coming back. It was very popular when we were,
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah,
So
I think
it
so
seems
too.
to
I
be
mean,
coming back.
I kind of in my head just count bicyclists as I see them around, and and on any given day I see 5 to 10 when I'm out in the mornings or
Yep.
around school time, and
Yep.
yeah,
My grandson likes to help one of his friends deliver papers in the Greenwood area. And so his friend was off on vacation with his family a couple of months ago, and Matthew got the job for a week. So one of those days I was able to go out with him with my bike and just do the route.
yeah, it's great, and it gives kids some freedom to get around.
Yep.
Before they have a car.
Yep.
Yeah, I think whatever we can do in safe streets or safer streets and better sidewalks and pedestrian lights and traffic calming to encourage people to walk to school or bike to school. Encourage kids, but make parents feel better about it. Because I can understand, I get it, in some areas it's hard. I'm not so sure that, I understand the impulse to drive. Because even if they're a few blocks away, because it just seems to be a little bit dangerous and they're in a rush going to work. But you know what? If we make it better and the kids can take their bike and ride, I think that, relieves a lot of stress on the family
Yep.
and hopefully reduces our carbon footprint at the same
I
time.
mean, I would love to ride my bike downtown more often, but there aren't a whole lot of places to park it safely and lock it up.
Okay. That's easily remedied.
And B, especially the intersection and the junction, it's like I'm gonna get creamed here, because my car's gotten creamed there, so.
And that's one that we looked really closely
Right.
at with Envision and looking at maybe making the corners wider so
Right.
that cars are not cutting in so close and bicyclists
Yeah.
have a.
There's a plan that's almost
bump
really
out.
developed that's part of that, and that's
It's gonna be so much better.
a huge thing to look at, and you have the whole west side, they can come in the back, but some may not,
Sure.
that can come around that way too, and people coming from the Greenwood area. It'd be a great,
One of the things I noticed the last time I was in Cambridge, and we don't have a street here like Mass Ave, but there are sections of Mass Ave where one lane is 100% bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Cars are not allowed, period, which is kind of interesting and kind of neat at the same time.
Yep. I work in Somerville. I feel like I spend as much time looking behind me to make sure that, all the bikes, but protected bike lanes are great and they have been proven to be much safer. I don't know, that's probably not immediately in the cards here, but something to think about.
I think it is something to think about. That'd have to be a lot of change.
Sure.
But, you start your bike trip with the first pedal, right? So this is part of that.
Bike racks for town meeting.
Bike racks for town meeting, absolutely.
There's a new slogan.
Yeah, and bikes are good for that, what they call the last mile. So we do have public transportation. We have buses, we have train stations.
Right.
People should be able to bike from maybe 2 miles to a train station, leave it safely
Right.
parked and locked and go in. So
Which
I
you
think we
can
have-
at Oak Grove.
You can do that at Oak Grove in
Yes.
the cage. Yep, you just
Yeah.
have to register your Charlie card. So, and the other thing is, we talk about traffic, and I think Steve is right. People just feel safer getting in the cars, but we have to remember that when we sit in traffic, we are the traffic.
Right.
I try to always, when I get frustrated, I try to remind myself, I'm sitting here in my car, a single person. I'm part of this problem.
Right.
So,
Right.
So.
I agree.
But no, I think this is a fantastic idea. I hope that a lot of people will turn out on the 17th to try it out.
Right. And it's from 12 to 4. It's not that you have to be there at 12 and stay
Right.
till 4. It's a drop in, come and drop in, enjoy, and
Right.
there'll be, information and some other fun things out
yeah, I
there.
think, so there should be a flyer in the MLD, I believe this next, the one that's just about to come out. We have a website called www.safestreetswakefield.com. We have a Facebook page, probably needs a little updating, but watch us there on all that stuff.
And also there are
We have some magnets. I'm going to leave some at the
refrigerator
library.
magnets and
Yep. These
know.
and let me say, these just say join us for Safe Street Sundays, because it is our hope that July 17th goes so well that we can convince the town to do it in August and September and make this a regular monthly event
and
during
maybe
the better
October
weather.
while it's
And
still
maybe October.
fairly nice.
Be really nice to kind of know predictably that a certain Sunday per month during certain months is our open streets here in Wakefield, and we can then build a lot of things around that. I
Right.
think.
And,
Right.
and in like all of these events, a lot of planning is involved with public safety, police, fire,
Right.
DPW, emergency management director, communications, to make sure we want them to go well. I mean, we do the same thing when there's a parade or festivals and things like that. So, this is a great first step, pedal to see how this works, and then we'll regroup with Safe Streets, see what can we do better, what worked, what didn't work, what changes did we notice, and then hopefully come back with more even better in the summer. But this will be a great day, and a great day for the kids and grandkids and grandparents and
Well, it's a great
everyone
way
in
to kick
between.
it off.
Yeah.
It really is to try and get as many people as possible, and again, also a healthier Wakefield,
Yes.
hopefully in
Right.
the long run.
Healthier, more sustainable.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of win-wins, I think.
maybe get out and talk to each other more instead of
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes,
I think that's why Mass Motion has been really supportive of
Yeah.
us with this, the
Absolutely,
town
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thank Regina Martinez for our great design. John
That's fun.
Chrisley, who's our chair, and of course Steve and the whole
it even looks like the
team.
lake a little bit.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it should. It should.
I mean, the shape even looks like the lake a little,
Yes.
which is great. Yeah.
She's a great artist. She has lots of local Wakefield art. So.
Actually, we'll have to make sure that WCAT copies this and puts it up on the.
Already done.
we're working on it.
Yeah, and people should look for this in the light bill, right?
That's the one
So
that will be in the light bill.
this will
the
be in your
lower-
light bill.
yeah.
Take a look at it. Just let you know what's happening and refers everybody to the website for Safe Streets.
That'll be in
Wakefield.com.
the
It should be
end
in the
of June.
It should be the end of June.
end of June
Yeah.
bill coming out.
Bill
So
coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. So hopefully people will see it and pass it along and invite. I mean, this is we keep saying the town council. I don't know if you remember last year. We changed our lake policy so that every weekend was not a big event.
Right.
That
Right.
people were coming in from out of town, and so I think this really complements that. We, of course, we welcome visitors, but this is really for Wakefield residents to bike and walk from their homes, enjoy the lake, enjoy the downtown.
And I think that's been a common complaint from Wakefield residents the last couple of years, that there are too many events
Right.
at the lake that aren't Wakefield centric.
well, the last couple we had no complaints. It was the couple before. Last couple we didn't have many at all, so we didn't have any complaints.
That's right. We just had Festival by the Lake.
Back for the first time.
What a great.
No one ever
event.
complained about that one.
Of course not. Of course not. And we also have the farmers market.
Starting this weekend.
There you
Starting
go.
Saturday. Yep.
There you
Saturday.
go. Hopefully it'll be good weather.
Yeah, and if people do want to come down to the lake and they don't want to drive or walk from their homes, I mean, I think people can park at Galvin,
people-
behind Town Hall.
Town Hall's always
There'll be places
available.
to kind
Yeah.
of park and then enjoy the event as
Right.
well. Because of course not
Absolutely.
everybody has full
Right.
mobility. We understand
Yeah.
that.
And people may want to walk, take the walk too, and drive down and walk if they live in Greenwood. So, absolutely.
And actually, looking ahead, and we'll be talking about this in more detail on the next program in August. Yes, we're taking July off again this year. Is the rail trail, which is still a ways away, but we'll talk about
We'll talk
where
about
it's
that.
at and what people can look forward to. And that will be another bike-friendly
Right.
area in town that, if I recall correctly, when it's finished, you could actually bike all the way to Manchester by the Sea.
Yes,
On
Newburyport.
Peabody, yeah.
Newburyport through the Peabody Loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some happening down in Malden too, this whole
Right.
Malden Greenway. I mean, the whole region is going to be interconnected.
Yeah.
In the not too, far
No,
future.
and that's the goal, to have that connectivity.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Very, very cool. One last mention of things around town, and I think this is the 4th or 5th year in a row that it's happened, but they went the opposite way this year, were the motorcycle veterans group.
Oh, the Veterans Group. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people in Greenwood turned out to
Yeah.
see them come through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Families.
Yeah, it's a
Which
very,
was kinda
if you've spent any time speaking with some of the people that put that on and participate in it, it really is a very moving event, and it's very personal for them. So I know that it's it's fossil fuel, it's combustion engine usually and all that stuff, but I think it really means a lot to those people that put it on. And it's I do we do get calls at Town Hall, that blocks off Main Street. You know what, it's
Once a year, and it's on a Sunday.
on a Sunday, and it's people that for the most part either put their lives on the line, lost someone. It's not too much of a burden for us.
Well, and of course, the neat thing about it was the first year was by accident, because they had a traffic accident on 93 and had to divert, and they diverted through Greenwood and then down Water
I didn't know
Street,
that history. How interesting.
Yeah.
and totally by accident.
Yeah.
And it's been nice that they've come back every year since.
Yeah, I think it starts in Malden. It still starts in Malden, I believe.
It used to, I believe it started in Malden or Everett, and then it used to end up at Suffolk Downs. That's now a construction site, so I'm not sure where they're ending up now, but it's still nice to see it come through, and the
Right.
Wakefield and the Melrose Fire Department team to put up a giant flag near
Near Chief
our
Edmund.
Blessed Sacrament.
Right. And I will
Church
tell
in
you
Greenwood.
that the having the public come out and wave them on really makes a difference to this group. It really does help them out a lot. So I
And the
appreciate
spectators
public
have gotten bigger each
doing
year
that,
too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
It really is nice.
that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Julie.
Oh,
We
thanks
look
for
forward to
having me.
Julie
July
biked here
17th.
today. She biked here. She didn't drive.
I didn't just bring it as a prop.
A prop, yeah. You should have brought your bike in.
Yeah, we should have had it here
No,
on the set. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back in August. Have a great summer. Take care.
Great.